Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Lover Musafai. I know that I made a video, I think it was yesterday I made a video, and I'm doing obviously the second review to Legend of Korra, and this is gonna be for the second episode, which is titled Korra Alone. And if you guys watched Avatar: The Last Airbender, there's a very short episode called Zuko Alone, where we see Zuko basically traveling around the Earth Kingdom and kind of making friends and kind of discovering who he is. And I think it's basically the same thing with Korra in this episode. It's kind of her finding herself and trying to figure out what's going on in her head. She's seeing visions of kind of like a dark version of herself, I think, or it's her in the Avatar state when she was fighting Zahir. And we know that when she was in the Avatar state, it wasn't really a natural, well, I mean, I don't think it was natural. I think it was kind of like an induced, forced. She was forced into the Avatar state by the poison. Now, obviously, we all know that she goes into the Avatar state as a defense mechanism, as a last resort to save herself. In book 3, when Zahir gives Korra the poison, it's kind of like he's forcing her to be in the Avatar state, and at the same time the poison is killing her. It's not like a momentary lapse of danger, frequently going through her body in her bloodstream. So it's kind of like the Avatar state is on a high. Like the Avatar state is just running high. The episode was kind of back and forth between present day and then the flashbacks of the last 3 years of what Korra was going through. And in the present day, we see that Tumblr came to Republic City, and we all thought that he had come with Korra. He says that he doesn't know where Korra is, but that he's been receiving letters from her from the past 6 months. In the last episode, we see that Korra is in the Earth Kingdom in some kind of cage match, in some kind of earth-bending cage match. In this episode, we see that Korra is looking in the mirror at her shadow reflection, and I read somewhere that kind of means that she herself is shattered. She's broken. She basically needs to pick up the pieces, but in her head, because there's a lot of things going on now that obviously she's not well. We all know that she's not well. We also see she was healing herself with waterbending, and even though her body is completely healed, her mind isn't. There is some healing that she still needs to do. Once Korra leaves the bathroom, she heads into the alleyway, and she confronts, or she sees, I guess it's a vision that she's seeing of herself in the Avatar state. She kind of fights her, and we notice that it's just a vision that she's having. So obviously it's not real. It's just her head playing tricks on her. Korra starts having flashbacks of when she went back to the Southern Water Tribe, and we see her having nightmares about Zahir trying to kill her, and Zahir almost killing her. Her mother advises her to go see Katara. So when she goes sees Katara, because Katara starts healing her, and Katara tells her that the poison that was in her system did a lot of internal damage. Katara and her start having healing sessions, and Korra gets very frustrated because, as we all know, Korra is a person that she doesn't like to stay sitting down. She's always there. She's always the first there for a fight. So she's a very extroverted avatar. She's not like Aang, who was very introverted, who was more of a maneuvering. He was an avatar who didn't like confrontation, but Korra's opposite. Korra is very confrontational. So in one of the healing sessions that Korra has with Katara, Katara tells her that the mind is a very powerful thing, and that she needs time to heal. Katara also tells her that she's not the only avatar who has gone through great suffering. She also tells Korra that Aang also suffered a lot in his time. That imagine what Aang must have felt when he found out that his entire culture had been wiped out, had been taken away from him. Katara tells Korra that in the end, Aang found peace, and through that suffering, he found his strength. So we flash back to the present day, where we see Korra in the street, and she finds a little puppy, and the puppy starts barking at her, and then she looks up and she sees again the vision of herself in the avatar state. And so the puppy starts barking at it, and she realizes that it's not just her that sees it, that it's also the puppy. So then that just gets confusing, because if it's not just the puppy, then maybe it is something other than her mind playing tricks on her. Maybe it is some kind of manifestation or some kind of residual energy from the fight between Zahir and her, or who knows, it could be anything. So Korra follows the puppy and tries to figure out what she can do to get rid of the visions and find some kind of solution. In another flashback, we see that Tenzin goes to see Korra at the Southern Water Tribe, and immediately we see that Korra is back on her feet. She's doing better than ever. She's doing great, and she immediately wants to show Tenzin how well she feels and how well she's doing. And so we see her in another sparring circle with 3 firebenders, and this also reminds me of the first scene, or one of the first scenes in the first episode of Korra, where she's sparring 3 firebenders, and she's basically kicking butt, and it's like nothing, like none of them can touch her, and she's powerful and she's fast. And in this scene, it's the complete opposite. We see Korra just basically get knocked down in 2 hits by the firebenders. A different transition from how we started the season and then now the ending of the season, how we see Korra change and how hurt she is and how fragile she is, and how still she's reeling from the fight with Zahir, because she's having visions of Zahir, and so that's kind of affecting her, also her fighting. And even though she might not have made it, she's probably scared also. Afterwards, Korra tells her parents that she wants to leave Republic City, and she goes off on her own to just have some time to herself to think. Once she gets to Republic City, she sees herself in the Avatar state, and she leaves. She immediately just double backs and she leaves. She finds some place to stop, and she decides to cut off her hair, and she gets rid of all her Southern Water Tribe clothing, and she changes into Earth Kingdom clothing. I'm guessing she was either at the Earth Kingdom, somewhere in the Earth Kingdom, or maybe somewhere in the Fire Nation. She also takes a trip to the spirit world. She heads to the Tree of Time, and she sits down and she starts meditating, and we see all these spirits, and the spirits notice that it's the Avatar. And one of the things that one of the spirits says is that he can't feel the spirit of Raava, and that if it's actually Avatar. So then Korra says, yes, I'm the Avatar, and I just cut my hair and I changed my clothing. So they go to see her, and she tells the spirits why she's been gone for so long, and the spirits offer her their help, but she decides to do it on her own. So she travels all over the Earth Kingdom. We see her going to some volcanoes, so I'm guessing it's the Fire Nation also, and she comes up to a desert where she sees Raava, and she goes up to meet her, and she's gone. It was just a vision, or maybe it was just some kind of hallucination. Finds herself another version of herself in the Avatar state, and she ends up in that cage match fighting herself, and she loses the cage match, and then we flash back to her following the puppy, and the puppy leads her to a swamp. And if you guys again saw the last Airbender, there was a swamp where also Avatar Aang ended up, and Aang had also visions of Toph and a flying pig, and you know that the Beifong family crest is the flying boar. The puppy ends up being one of the spirits from the Tree of Life. To our surprise, she ends up meeting an old friend. And if you haven't seen this episode yet, the old friend is Toph. All this talk about seeing Toph, and we had seen Katara, we had seen Zuko, and I knew we were missing Toph. So we saw Toph, and Toph immediately recognized her as the Avatar, and she called her Twinkle Toes, which we all know she used to call Aang. It was a great episode, really. I love the episode. It seems like these two episodes are just teasers. Like, these episodes are 22 minutes long, and they're very short. For episodes, they're very, very short. For a show, and they're just teasers, and they just keep on leaving us hanging these cliffhangers. But it's great to see Toph, and I think Toph is gonna basically show her maybe how to master earthbending, and maybe also help her find herself, maybe help her deal with these visions that she's having of herself, and maybe give her some kind of insight into what's going on in her head. Toph has been in the swamp, finding herself, finding some kind of enlightenment. Maybe Toph has become more wiser with her old age, and she can finally help Korra with her avatar problems. Maybe she can finally reconnect to her past lives. So we'll just have to wait and see. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will be reviewing the third episode. So thanks again, and please stay tuned for Legend of Korra episode 3. Thanks, guys. Bye.